What's up, everybody? This is Colton from Coffee&Combat, and today we are going to watch the gameplay of me beating the Earth Temple. It's going to be a good time. I'm not going to have any particular subject. It's going to be kind of a free-for-all. Just going to commentate what I'm playing, discuss things. It's going to be a good time, so sit back, relax, because you're in for about an hour. I know you could probably already see that based on the time length that the YouTube video says, but too bad it's going to be a little over an hour, and you know that because I told you, not because you can already see the time on the thumbnail. So I will already say that I have cut out a lot. It was about 2 hours before I cut out about an hour out of it, because I was an idiot. I tried to go through the temple without consulting a guide. That didn't go very well. It just showed me how bad I am, and so I consulted a guide. And so there's a lot of also times that I would just pause and just sit, not doing anything, because I was trying to figure out what to do. So I cut out a lot of info. Now, in fact, I cut out probably 15 minutes because I did not know how to freaking get this lady, I don't even remember her name, whatever her face is, over to the other side. I thought I had to throw her, and it was just dumb. Anyway, so finally I figured it out, and now I'm playing as her, got the wings, and now I'm about to step on this switch thing, and then we're going to go through the door. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take a drink of my coffee, which is actually not coffee, it's nighttime. So I didn't drink coffee because I don't want to be up all night. So I got a glass of milk. Now look at what Link is doing. What am I doing here? I'm just conducting some voodoo. I do that voodoo that I do. I do it well. So I try to go through the door, figure out that I'm an idiot. So I gotta go back to Link and meet myself halfway. So I don't know really what to talk about, so I guess I'll start off with the story. Now this is about, golly, how long has it been? Probably about 4 years now. 4 years. I live in Oklahoma, and I live in Norman, which, if any of you football fans or just college fans in general know, that is near the campus of Oklahoma University, OU. As Chase Martin said, we are big fans of OU. Even when I was born in Clinton, Oklahoma, then I moved to Texas right when I was 2, so I grew up in Texas territory. Everybody was a Longhorns fan. I've really got no particular beef. I've got no particular beef with the Longhorns. It's just that I like OU better, and I will root for the Longhorns as long as they are not playing OU. Anyway, so then we moved to Norman because my dad accepted a church to pastor at in Norman, Oklahoma. It just so happens that we were already big OU fans. My dad grew up a big OU fan, therefore I grew up a big OU fan. It was kind of weird living in Texas. Everybody, especially when Red River rivalry, can't talk, sorry, came about. I was the only OU fan along with another kid. His name was Caleb. I haven't talked to that guy. I should probably do that, but that's not part of the story. In fact, none of this is. Anyway, I've always been a big OU fan. That's the point of this story. Anyway, to go back into the story that I was originally telling, grew up in Norman. So, my church has a college ministry, and it's called OU MBSF. Once again, I'm going to chase another little rabbit. It's actually not called OU MBSF anymore. It's called Norman MBSF. The reason we changed that is because there were some complications, because most of our students actually did not come from OU itself, but came from colleges in the OKC area. That's neither here nor there. Probably wasted your time, but hey, quick pitch, if you're in Norman and you want to hang out, OU and BSF. Sorry, I was wrong. Norman and BSF. That's right. Anyway, golly, I can't tell a story worth anything. So yeah, grew up. My church has a college ministry called Norman MBSF. Well, since OU is not the only college in town, and in fact, it's not even the most notable college in town, because there's a debate whether OU or OSU. Either way, OSU is still there in Stillwater. So the church in Stillwater, who we associate with, also has an MBSF. MBSF, I need to explain, stands for Missionary Baptist Student Fellowship. There you go. It's for college ministries. That's really all you need to know. Anyway, so we like to, around October, when the Red River... Golly, holy crap. The Red River rivalry comes around, we like to get together and play some games, kind of get some competition, just like, hey, you do this, I'm better than you at this. Yeah, pretty basic. So, what we like to do is we like to have fun in games and really just hang out. Anyway, so I went to Stillwater quite often. Having said that, after my senior year in high school, I spent a night twice in the same summer in Stillwater. I had a couple of friends. I went. And based on these two experiences, I'm not going back. First experience isn't really that special. I mean, as far as the story goes, I pretty much went there and just, like, in the middle of the night, we were talking with some friends, and for some reason I just started feeling really nauseous. Didn't know what was up. Went and got a drink of water. I don't know about you guys, but when I feel sick, if I usually drink a glass of water very slowly, just kind of keep sipping on it, I feel better by the end of that. Probably shows me how dehydrated I usually am, but that's neither here nor there, and I'm not going to learn from my mistakes, because I'm an adult. I don't have to. That's stupid. Anyway, so then I got really sick, just went out and just kind of nonchalantly just threw up everywhere. Felt better. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I'm guessing that people in the other houses were getting drunk, therefore I caught a little drunk high. That's not possible, but that's what I'm going to blame it on. And I threw up, felt better. It was weird. The second time, it's like, it really, the whole ordeal should have been a movie, or at least it should have been an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, or some show. So, we go there because their MBSF wants to hang out. I'm about to cough, hold on. Golly. Oh, I gotta recover from that. Anyway, sorry about that. So their MBSF is watching some movies and hanging out, pretty much a start of the next semester to their MBSF. So they're gonna watch a movie, they're gonna eat pizza, they're just gonna kind of do some games and hang out. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll go over there. So for a drive, I decided to spend the night there with a couple of friends. There was me, there was Brian, there was Robbie, and there was Micah. We all get into Micah's car and we leave. We watch a movie. It was going to be Wreck-It Ralph. Y'all don't really care. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but I got an hour, so I'm telling the story like I want to tell it. And why did I leave in a pause in this video? Wow, that's really sad editing. Anyway, so we arrive there. We're about to watch Wreck-It Ralph. People don't want to watch that, so I really haven't even seen Wreck-It Ralph all the way through. But then we decided to watch The Avengers. I've already seen The Avengers, but you know what? It's a good movie. I don't even care. I'm I'm gonna watch it. It's a really good movie. Actually, it's not that good of a movie. Well, yeah, it is. I don't know. How do you feel about Avengers? Tell me in the comments below. I mean, just tell me. Are you Team Stark or are you Team America? Anywho. So we watch the Avengers and we stay and we talk. We do this in the ministry house. Like, the church at Stillwater owns this house. Therefore, they are the landlords. Therefore, they make the rules. Well, being Christians, we kind of make the rules to reflect the Christian doctrine. So, yes, it's acceptable for girls to be over there. I mean, it's not like we seclude that much. But they just can't be over when it's an all guys house. Like, guys will rent in the house, so they live there pretty much. So the girls that do hang out at the MBSF house cannot stay past midnight. Anyway, so we're talking, and these girls that walked over here from their dorms, it's reaching midnight, and so they need to go. But being the gentlemen that we are, we don't want to just leave them and let them roam around the streets on the college campus at midnight. So we, as the gentlemen we are, we take them over to their dorms, and then we come back. Pretty good time. Nothing really happens, but we all get inside, and we are, we talk a little bit, and then we go to sleep. First of all, me and Brian, this was like when we were just when we thought we were like best buds. I mean, we really weren't, and I mean, it's not like we said that we were best buds, but really we hung out a lot. So we got this idea, let's push these couches together and talk in the middle of the night, share our feelings, maybe braid each other's hair, maybe paint each other's nails, manly stuff like that. So we pushed it together, and let me tell you, this guy fell asleep in under 5 minutes, which wasn't too bad. I mean, I would have been content with going back to sleep, or not going back to sleep, but going to sleep. Having said this, this guy Brian snores so loud, it sounded like 2 garbage trucks shifting in the back alley of the house. It was bad. And at that rate, I wasn't going to get any sleep. So I decided, you know what, I don't want to, it's one of those things when you're in bed and you realize that for some reason, because of an annoyance, like a faucet dripping, or a cricket, or you're just on the wrong side of the bed, you debate with yourself. You spend probably 30 minutes on what time you could spend fixing the problem, either turning off the faucet, or going and squashing the cricket, and you debate with yourself if it's worth the energy to do that. Because if I'm in bed and I'm really close to sleeping, but I hear a cricket, I think if I get up, I'm going to wake up, so it's going to take me longer to go to sleep than it would be if I could just fall asleep with the sound of a cricket. But that never works. And in fact, I spend more time debating with myself than it would be to fix the problem. But still, like I said, I don't learn from my lessons. So I just sit there and wait and wait. So that's pretty much what I did. I knew I wasn't going to get any sleep, but I still convinced myself I can fall asleep. Finally, after 30 minutes of debating, I switched sides. And since it's a couch, what I really did was just put my dome, my noggin, where my feet were. And just switch my body like that. So anyway, I'm there, and it takes me a while to go to sleep, especially back in that time. For some reason, ever since I was little, up until about a year ago, not a year ago, probably 3 years ago, maybe 4, I had a bad problem with falling asleep. It would take me on an average 30 minutes to go to sleep once I went to bed. In fact, it got even so bad where it would take an average of an hour to go to sleep every time I went to bed. Anyway, in fact, right now I'm starting to get tired, and I could probably go to sleep. But you know what? I've been too excited about this video to do it, so I'm sticking through this. Anyway, so about 30 minutes goes by and I'm starting to fall asleep. But as I'm starting to fall asleep, I hear like a scratch on the window. Like a knocking. Like a dum dum dum. Except it's on a window. I'm not gonna try to recreate that sound because I can't. But that's pretty close. Dum dum dum. Anyway, so I get freaked out. I'm like, what is that? Like somebody's at the window. It was a very distinct sound, but there was nobody there. I look up, nobody there, and so I do what normal people do. Once again, going back to the whole what normal people do, you know, if somebody knocked on my window right now, like I'd be freaked out and I'd be thoroughly convinced that somebody knocked on my window. But if I saw no evidence of that and 30 minutes go by, then I'm starting to get a little bit more logical. Even if it was a person knocking on my window, because there's no more evidence, I finally, after a few minutes, convinced myself that it's a tree. And there was a tree. So after about 15 minutes of being freaked out, I finally convinced myself, like, okay, it was the tree. There was no limbs next to the window. It really was improbable that it was a tree, but I still convinced myself that it was the tree. So I start to calm down a little bit, and so once again it takes about 30 minutes to get tired. So I do, and honestly it really wasn't 30 minutes. It was probably 10 minutes, but you know, nights it seems longer. So I start to get close to falling asleep, but then I hear a jiggling on the doorknob, and trees can't jiggle a doorknob, so I know somebody's there. I don't know what this dude is. Like, this dude is either coming in, he's gonna kill me, he's probably got a gun, he's probably got a knife, he's probably got fangs that he's gonna sink into my neck. Like, I don't know. Anyway, so there was a jingling on the door, and then, you know, it stops. So once again, I'm freaked out. But, I thought, if there was jiggling, well, let me say it this way. I believed, and I had already assumed that he couldn't get in because the door was locked. And as we're going to find out in a little bit, the door was not locked. He just jiggled it and just did not open the door. But, I assumed that they locked the door when they went to sleep. So I was like, okay, it was probably just a guy trying to get in, but he couldn't, and that's okay. And of course, that doesn't make much sense, because if a guy is determined to get into the house, he's gonna find a way. But once again, even though I had every right to probably be scared, I finally, after probably 20 or 30 minutes, actually, not exaggerating, I finally start to convince myself that, it's going to be okay because the door is locked, obviously. Well, 30 minutes go by, I start to fall asleep. I start to go back to sleep. But then the door opens. He didn't just jiggle it. The door actually opened. And so this is what I'm talking about. It felt like a movie. It felt like just a movie, because the porch light was on. Okay, well, first, before I say that, I am a freaking genius. I just want to let everybody know I'm a genius, because I needed, curiosity got the best of me. If I pretended to be asleep, then the killer wasn't going to kill me. And yes, this guy obviously, because he was in the house, he was a killer. Like, that's just the logic of things. So this guy opened the door, and I, like I said, curiosity just got the best of me. I had to look and see. But once again, I didn't want this guy to know. This is not my house. So what if he takes everything? He can go and steal all. He can steal the bank, the piggy bank from these guys, and I'm not gonna care. It's not my stuff. My life is more important than their things. So I'm gonna pretend to be asleep. This cat is gonna think that I'm asleep. And he's not gonna bother me because one burglar is gonna harm an innocent sleeping man. That's just foolish. It's tomfoolery. So I have to see this guy just because. I mean, if you're just close your eyes, and if you think that you hear something, obviously you heard something, but still, seeing is believing. To confirm that this guy is here, I need to see him. Once again, this guy's not gonna figure out that I'm not awake, so I do that thing where you open your eyes just enough that you can see, but they can't see that you're opening eyes. And no, I'm not an amateur, guys. I'm a professional. I don't do that one thing where you squint and it's kind of like you make a mean face and you look through the covers of your eyes, because if you do that, the eyelashes don't get into your way, therefore your vision's more clear. Look, no, I went the professional way. I calmly, without straining any of my face or my eyelids, therefore it looked like I was resting my eyes like any normal sleeping person would, and I just crack them open. Just crack them open a little bit. And yes, my vision's fuzzy because of my eyelashes, but you know what? That's the price I'm willing to pay. And this is where I'm talking about. This looked like a movie because the porch light was on, and so the light was casting a shadow, or was illuminating his back, because this dude was in the doorway. So the light was illuminating his back, therefore it cast a shadow onto the floor in front of me, just like a horror movie when the killer is in the doorway. And right now it's like 1:30 in the morning, so now that I'm talking about killers in the doorway, I'm probably not going to get any sleep, but this guy was in the doorway and it looked just total black. It was just a black silhouette of the 10-foot monster that was before me. And so I'm freaked out. I'm just like, nope. I actually closed my eyes. Of course, it didn't look like any different because I'm a freaking master at pretending that I'm asleep. And so I'm just like, shoot, this guy, take whatever he wants. He ain't killing me because he thinks I'm asleep. And so I closed my eyes, and the silhouette, because you know how when you close your eyes you can still see light. I mean, that sounds weird, but if it's dark in the room, then it's pitch black when you close your eyes. But if it's daytime, then there's some shades, there's some illuminated darkness. That sounds weird, it's a contradiction, but you know what I'm saying. Well, anyway, the silhouette, the shadow of the silhouette on the insides of my eyelids went away and got bright because of the light on the porch. So I open my eyes and there's nobody there. And so I'm gonna go ahead and tell the story as I saw it, and then I'm gonna go cover my tracks because I've told this story to many people, because it's honestly one of the only stories that I can ever tell. It's probably the most interesting that's ever happened to me, and yes, that's sad, but yes, it's true. So I've told the story to many people, and a lot of people have different questions on why I did this, why I did that, but it's not a movie. It's not like anybody wrote the script. This happened in real life, and I had to think on my feet. Anyway, so there's nobody there, and so I assume that he's in the house. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to go back and explain. And I'm sorry that I'm taking so long, because I'm trying to think of every area, making sure that you, the listener, know exactly how I felt. So I assume this dude is in the kitchen. He's ransacking the place, but that's okay because he ain't killing me. And so I'm just like, I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait this thing out. Forget that. Sleep at this point is out the window. Like, I'm not sleeping tonight. But not 30 minutes, but 5-10 minutes go by. I start to think, where is this guy? Is he in the kitchen? I don't hear any footsteps. In fact, I didn't hear any footsteps go back. Maybe he just left. And so I'm starting to convince myself that this guy has left. But, and so I'm even to the point, and this is about 20 minutes. I'm even to the point that I feel like I'm gonna go close the door and lock it. But as I'm about to, I hear him coming to the doorway again. Now, this was a house that was kind of a duplex, but the houses were on different stories. I've never seen anything like this. But there's a house on the bottom and then a house on the top. It's not like an apartment complex. There's not multiple houses. There's not multiple rooms. This is just a single 2-story house that each story is a different house. So I hear footsteps coming downstairs. So this guy had gone upstairs and was coming back down. So I lay down and I go back to pretending I'm asleep. Anyway, sorry guys, I am getting tired. So I'm about to fall asleep. Nope, sorry. Backtrack. The guy comes back to the doorway. I'm asleep, as far as this guy knows. So I lay there, and it seems like a little bit, but then I actually finally hear the footsteps that I was wondering about come across me. And let me tell you, when they get closer and closer to your face, because now my face is next to the door. It was when I was trying to go to sleep the first time before I switched, because Brian is so freaking loud with his stupid snoring. I was far away, but now my face is closer to the door. Therefore, I heard the footsteps coming towards me, not just nearby me, but to me. Anyway, they pass through and they go into the kitchen. I hear the footsteps in the kitchen. Once again, I'm thoroughly convinced this guy is going to ransack the place, but who cares? Not me. My life is more important. Anyway, so he comes back, and the footsteps clomp, 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 clomp. And they stop. They get louder and louder and louder. And they're right next to me, and then they stop. I don't know what I did. Maybe, now looking back on it, I was really nervous, and Tourette's, I have Tourette's, by the way, hey, just to let you know, I've got Tourette's, and it's not like the, or cat, or whatever verbal Tourette's, it's just that I do some twitches, face and shoulders mainly. That's neither here nor there, nobody cares, but it's triggered by nervousness, being tired, and caffeine. Other substances, I'm sure, but I don't use other substances, so as far as I know, caffeine. So I was really nervous, so maybe I was twitching or something, maybe he caught a glimpse, I really don't know. Either way, doesn't really matter. He stopped in front of me, and so the sweat is just pouring. I don't know how I did it, but I didn't sweat on top of me, which is what he was looking at, but all the sweat was on my back and on my butt, and, well, not on my butt, it was in the crack. It was really disgusting, but I was clenching hard. So I'm like, this dude is going to slay me. He's going to slit my throat. He's going to walk away. Remember, I don't know what this guy is. I don't know what he has. As far as I know, he has a bazooka in his back pocket that he's going to use on my face. So I'm like, I clench. Mostly my butt, because it's covered by my sleeping bag, so you can't really see my butt being clenched. But when I get nervous, that's what I do. It's weird, but that's what I do. And so I was clenching hard. But he just steps over. So once again, and I hate to admit it, but once again, curiosity is just gripping my soul. I'm like, is this dude really stopped in front of me? So thankfully my face was facing the sky, the ceiling. So my face was already in prime position, that I didn't have to move it or anything to let him know that I was in fact awake. But I could open my eyes slightly so he couldn't see me, and I couldn't see. Well, I could, but I could see him. So I do that, and this dude is peering over me. Like, he is peering over me. The stranger, this man that I've never met, who just broke into the house that somebody forgot to lock. Freaking jerk who did not lock this door, let this monster in, and now this guy is going to kill me. And so he's peering over me, and once again the light is reflecting from the porch, and so while light gets in, is not going to be from the floor, so it's illuminating his back, therefore it casts a shadow. So I can't see this dude's face. All I see is this black silhouette of this man peering over me, and boy, it's really creepy, and it still burns in my mind. Anyway, so I freak out, and I clench even harder. So then I'm like, you know what? He hasn't killed me yet. I'm just gonna lay here like a slug. That was my only defense. And if anybody has ever seen A Christmas Story, they know what I'm referencing. So then he goes an extra step. If he hasn't crossed the line already, he's crossed the line right now. I feel a foreign hand, foreign body part touch my chest. I mean, it touches my chest, and he pushes down on it. And this guy he broke the barrier. He invaded my personal space, and he's touching me right now. And so I think he's trying to see if I'm awake, but I don't want him to know that I'm awake, so I don't respond. But then this guy does not stop there. He goes a little down south. He starts going down my chest, down into my tummy. And I lose it. And I lose it in the most calm way, because I don't want him to know that I'm awake. I know I keep iterating that, but guys, if he knows that I'm awake, he's gonna destroy me. He's going to kill me. And I know a lot of people are thinking, why didn't you scream rape? Why didn't you? Freaking, he will slit my throat if I scream rape. I don't understand why people encourage people to scream. I mean, don't get me wrong, now I understand, but if you're in that situation, you're not going to scream. At least in the situation I was. If people already know that you're awake, then obviously scream for help. But if somebody doesn't know you're awake, just pretend to be asleep so that they won't kill you. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents, of course. This is coming from a guy who's very embarrassed because this guy started to go down south. But, so I'm starting to freak out because I'm like, this guy is not getting any of my goodies. This is for me, myself, and my future wife. So, he ain't getting none of that. So, once again, going back, and I know I keep talking about this, I do not want this guy to know that I'm awake. So, my freaking genius, my freaking mind, the gadgets in my mind, the wheels start turning, and I devise a genius way to get out of this. And I go, I do one of those things where it's like you're waking up a person, or you move a person, and they like it's almost like they're awake, but they're not. They're starting to wake up, but they're not. So they're not going to remember this in the morning. So the killer has reassurance that he's messing with a guy that is not, in fact, awake. And if he is awake, he's not going to remember this in the morning. So he doesn't have any motive to kill me. I'm a genius, guys. You don't have to tell me. I already know. So I I also do that thing where you kind of move, so I turn my shoulder and I kind of like move, and I'm like, I don't know. So he thinks that, oh no, I'm starting to wake this kid up, and he doesn't want to resort to killing me, so he's gonna stop. He's gonna stop messing with me, right? Wrong. He does it again, and he goes farther down, and I'm like, this guy is not getting into my goodies. It's just not happening. I'm not gonna be like this. This is not gonna happen. So I move in. I hit his hand a little harder, and so I went even smarter, and I said, "Stop, Robbie! Stop it!" See, Robbie was the guy next to me, and of course I could have said anybody's name, but just thinking in the moment, I decided to use Robbie, who was on a few couches next to me, so that this guy would know that I thought it was somebody else, once again reiterating that I'm still asleep to this guy. So I'm like, Robbie, stop. So this guy thinks that I think it's Robbie, even though I know it's a pedophile who's trying to get into my goodies. I know this. And so this guy's got to stop, right? No. He goes, once again, third time's charm, right? No. Because this dude is not getting in to my jimmies. So I slap his hand even harder, and I just scream, "Dude! Robbie! Quit!" And he freaking ran. And I felt like the most big boss Rick Ross that you've ever heard of. Now, I will admit that I went the wussy way out of pretending that I was asleep so this guy did not touch me and places in the no-no square. So you're probably thinking, wow, you know nothing about being a big boss, but I just made a dude run away who was probably going to kill me, so I feel like a boss. Do not take that away from me. Anyway, so speaking of big boss, I was too afraid to go to sleep, too scared to go to sleep, so I kind of just gave up, but at least I was going to live another day. So finally, after honestly about 30 minutes, maybe even 45 minutes of this door being open, because I'm still scared that he's going to come back, after 45 minutes of finally convincing myself that it's the coast is clear, I can get up and lock the door, I finally get up and do that. And like I said, I just stayed up on my phone, and what sucks is that this was before I had an iPhone. So was it before I had an iPhone? No, I did have an iPhone at this point. No, I didn't. I broke that, so I got another touchscreen phone. It was really crappy. Anyway, the reason I'm saying that is because I couldn't play any games or anything. I could only text my friends who were asleep that, hey, I just got touched by a stranger. And so I didn't really, really couldn't do anything to occupy myself, so I could forget about that. And like, I forgot a tidbit of information that happened before that. When he opened the door the first time, and then he left, and I started to convince myself that I could get out of bed. The reason I didn't get out of bed was because I was scared that if I got up in that period of time, he was going to come back, or he's going to come back from the kitchen, because I also thought that there was a possibility that I just didn't hear his footsteps, and that he was still in the kitchen, and he would have come out at the moment, and so obviously he would have known that I was awake. Having said that, when he was gone, I did feel comfortable enough, since I was still in bed and Brian was laying right next to me, to wake him up. A lot of people ask me, but just in case you're wondering, I did try to wake Brian up, but this douchebag was still asleep, and I said, Brian, you gotta wake up, and he's like, what? I was like, dude, there's somebody in the house, and he's like, and he freaking goes back to sleep, like, dude, my life is at stake, and you're just gonna leave me hanging. Way to go, bud, way to go. Anyway, he went back to sleep. So mad, and I could not forgive him. Also, let me see. A lot of people wondered why I didn't. Oh yeah, so pretty much covered my butt already. Because a lot of people, every time I ask or tell this story, everybody wonders why I didn't go and lock it. Because once again, I thought in that moment he's just gonna come out at the right moment. Because in those situations, it never happens when you want it to. It always happens at the worst moment. I was just thinking he was going to come in at that worst moment, and he was going to shoot me in the face. Let me see. Also, I mean, just to reiterate, like I said, I thought this dude had a gun. I thought that my life was going to end that night if I showed any signs of me being awake to this man. So when when people think like you should have yelled rape, you should have yelled something, you're right. I should have done that, but once again, there was a slim chance that this guy thought that I was asleep. Therefore, he had no motivation to kill me. So I was gonna keep that motivation as long as I could. So, I mean, of course, I didn't sacrifice for him, getting into my nose square. But that's beside the point. Anyway, to move on with the story, please. Okay, well, this is actually covering my butt because if this video gets ever popular at all, people are going to criticize me for what I'm about to say. And I'm not saying that this is right. I'm not saying that this is wrong. You can interpret it. You can be your own judge on how I felt. But really, I'm just telling you how I felt. I'm not trying to. Anyway, the reason I'm saying that is because obviously, guys, I did not get raped. I got a little molested because the definition of being molested is really getting it's a getting abused in a way that you don't want to, but that word abuse means that you're getting touched, you're getting messed with, and that's what I was. I'm not saying that I got molested as we think of it today, but he did touch me, and he started to go in appropriate ways. Anyway, so please understand that I am not a molest victim. I'm not a rape victim, but please put yourself in my shoes. You just had a very scary situation, and so there's a little. I'm not saying that I had a traumatic experience. I mean, I guess I could, but I really wouldn't say that. But I felt like I had just had a traumatic experience. So I felt. Anyway, I'm not going to apologize anymore. This is how I felt, and I'm sorry, not sorry if you get offended. But I had heard that raped victims and victims who have been molested, the problem that they suffer throughout the next years of their lives is that they keep it inside, and it messes with their mind, and it messes with their psychology. So I was convinced that I had just faced the same situation that is on the same level as others. So I convinced myself, I didn't want to, but I convinced myself to tell my friend in the morning. So I stay up all night, and about 6:30, 7 o'clock comes up, and one of my friends wake up, and I'm sitting on the couch just kind of staring at him, probably just as creepy as the other guy was staring at me, but I was staring at him. And I'm like, hey dude, you wanna go get some breakfast? And I'm like very solemn. I'm very solemn about this. So he's like, yeah. So we go to McDonald's, and it honestly took a lot for me. I'm like, and it's really awkward. It's really no way of saying it, because once again, I was convinced that something traumatic. So how do you even start a conversation like that? So I was like, hey man, I just want to tell you because something scary happened last night, and I just want to tell you just so it doesn't affect me. Because I've heard, and I explained what I explained to you, that it messes with their minds. So I was like, so I tell him, so this guy broke in, and he came, and he kind of grabbed me, and he stops me and says, "Oh, you too?" And I'm just like, what? Like, I was awake all night. He didn't touch you. Like, what are you talking about? You too? So then he goes to explain. Remember how I said that this house was a 2-story house, and that there was another house above? Well, it just so happens that my friend Micah, who I invited to breakfast to tell a story to, he was friends with the guy upstairs. And remember once again how I told you that this guy was in the doorway, but then he left for a little bit, and I heard footsteps coming down. Apparently, this guy went upstairs and knocked on the other man's um, door, who is friends with Micah because of our MBSF and college group. That's how they're friends. So this guy goes and asks this guy for money. And so this guy texted Micah in the middle of the night, and Micah got this message after he had woken up, right before we ate breakfast, that a drunk guy came to his house asking him for money so he could get home. So this guy was drunk, thought that the house that I was staying at was his house, came inside, searched the place, realized that he was at the wrong house, stopped in front of me, thought I was one of his friends, checked if I was awake, and he kept trying to wake me up, and then realized that he was in the wrong place and ran home. So that, talk about embarrassing. And what's even more embarrassing is that I thought that I had actually experienced a very traumatic thing. It turns out it was just a drunk guy trying to find his way home. So I don't even get, that. And I know a lot of people are, once again, a lot of people might get offended by me even kind of joking, but I'm not joking. I actually thought that I had experienced something that a lot of people don't pay attention, or that don't experience, and that I was going to need to work through this, and that is a story in and of itself. But then having it, just turn out to be a drunk guy is a very relieving thing, don't get me wrong, but it's also kind of like, well, then what was the point of me going through that traumatic experience? So, you can get offended if you want, but I was kind of disappointed. Golly, I feel so wrong for saying that. Man, I'm so messed up. But you know what? That's really how I felt. And I'm not going to apologize to you. I'm going to apologize to myself, to any victims out there. But I'm not going to apologize to the casual listener who gets offended, because that was that was a scary situation. I'm not going to apologize to you. So deal with it. Anyway, that was a very, very long story. And you know what? There you go. One of the scariest moments of my life. So yeah. Man, how long does this video have left? Oh, okay. Wow, yeah, we're almost done. So we got 15 minutes left. That was a 45-minute story. Man, if you got through that, man, I applaud you. And you must have gone through that story. It was probably just as traumatic as what I faced. So good job. Proud of ya. And now you can go and tell your friends how a guy on YouTube just almost bored you to death. So yeah, as you can see here, took that woman with the wings, and I already got my mirror shield, which that mirror shield looks freaking amazing. And now we're shining lights at random stuff. This is a really cool part. Honestly, the Earth Temple is one of my favorite temples out of Wind Waker. Probably one of my favorites out of the series. But I really enjoyed this temple. In fact, a lot more than I thought I would. And because really it's called the Earth Temple, and why are there so many mirrors? I don't really understand. But as you can see, I sped up a lot and I cut out a lot. Any of the cuts that you see, pretty much me just going over, me wasting time and just being dumb. But yeah, so what we're doing is we're shining light all different directions to get into the sun's eyes, which the sun, when it illuminates, is just really cool. The just really cool part about Legend of Zelda is all the puzzles that you have to solve to get through the temple. That's something I always liked about Legend of Zelda. And I really like Wind Waker. To be real with you, the style and the art of it is just really, really beautiful. And especially when it's HD, like the HD remix is pretty stinking awesome, I must say. Because it looks so crisp and beautiful. So yeah, I'm getting closer to the boss room. I think I'm really trying to get into a room where I get the boss key. I could be completely wrong. But yeah, so if you were trying to beat the Earth Temple yourself, then yeah, just do what I do. And I'm not saying do what I do, just kind of follow the steps that I follow, because what you're seeing is me doing everything right. You're not seeing me being stupid. So yeah, about to face that good old boss. Guys, I'm really tired. I haven't even finished the milk that I got. I'm gonna drink the rest of this milk. Man, that's good. That's really good. Did y'all see that sun that I was talking about? Man, that was tight. I'm gonna drink some more milk. So yeah, like I said, I kind of alluded to it earlier. Didn't really stand on it much. I might make a video over the fact that I have Tourette's. I don't know, cause I don't know if I've got enough time to just go into full detail about my Tourette's, but just kind of an overview and just kind of introduce to you. When I say Tourette's, when I tell people that I have Tourette's, a lot of people are like, no you don't, no you don't. And that's because, and I can't blame them, it's because people think, obviously, when they think of Tourette's, they think of, the cussing randomly, just saying cat, or just an animal, or just some sound, and, or they think of, I'm trying to think, or just yelling, I remember sometime, while back when I first started, this guy came in to my work, and he had Tourette's, and he had it bad, man, and he would just randomly just go, "What?" and just, yell in the lobby, and when you got walls that are made out of, I don't even know, I guess brick, man, I'm an idiot, but no, it's concrete. Is it concrete? I don't know. Anyway, it kind of resonated throughout the entire store. Just got the big key. I'm a boss. Anyway, so that's what people think of, and don't get me wrong, that stuff is interesting. Say what you want about people suffer, and people do suffer, but that's interesting. You can't say that it's not interesting. And so because it's more interesting than the Tourette's that I have, people are going to remember that more, and people are going to think about that when they think of Tourette's, because it's pretty neat stuff. But no, that's not what I have. I was diagnosed at 6 years old, which is if anybody else has Tourette's, that's the time that they're diagnosed. That's the time that they really show signs of Tourette's. I don't really know. I haven't studied much about it. I'm not like a Tourette's guru or anything. I just know that I have it. My mom, when I was diagnosed, really, because she kind of felt bad for me. She thought, she thought that her kid was going to have to suffer a lot of traumatic experiences because of it. So she researched the crap out of Tourette's, and so she could, I don't know if she knows much anymore, but she knew a lot. And so I do know, because of, thanks to my mama, that it's either a part of OCD, or OCD and Tourette's go hand in hand. And I don't know really how to explain that other than the way I did. But pretty much it's involuntary. It's an involuntary twitch. But really it is voluntary. I don't really know how to explain. There's when I twitch, there's one of two things going on. It's either that it's an involuntary twitch, it's a spasm that's from my mind subconsciously that I want to either strain a muscle or make a stupid face, or I say that I twitch, but I do some verbal stuff, but it's not loud. It's kind of like a cough, but it's a really soft cough. And in fact, because I'm thinking about it, that's another thing. I'm about to say it. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm doing it. And you probably can't even hear, partially because this mic is no good quality, but also because that's just how quiet it is. So yeah, anyway, it's either a spasm, or it's either very involuntary, or what's going on is that I just walking throughout my day and I remember, hey, I have Tourette's. I could be reminded of my Tourette's out of nowhere. It can also be because I'm aware that I'm twitching involuntarily. So then I'll start thinking about it. So then I'll start obsessing about it. So then, because I have Tourette's, it's not that I want to, but my mind will not be satisfied until I either do that soft cough, twitch, move my head, strain my neck. In fact, I think because of my Tourette's, I'm going to have pretty bad neck problems as far as pain goes, because I've already I hurt my neck a lot because of how much I strain it and twist it. And what's even worse is that if I do something, if I do a twitch or a strain a muscle in a way that it hurts, my Tourette's picks up on that, and so it makes me want to strain that muscle in the way that it's going to hurt again. Weird, it sucks, but that's just the way it is. So anyway, yes, so I'll obsess, and I won't be satisfied, or at least my mind won't be satisfied until I do that certain thing. And so my Tourette's throughout the course of my years since I've been 6 has really manifested itself in different ways. But I think my body just kind of naturally adapted into a system of a way that would be the least noticeable to the public eyes. Like I used to, and it's so embarrassing. I used to grunt like a pig, and I kid you not, like oink oink, like I'm not gonna do it because then I'm starting to think about it. And I just did it. I kind of did it away from the mic so you wouldn't hear. Anyway, it's dumb. But I would grunt like a pig. Anyway, so yes, things that can trigger Tourette's, and I'm talking about involuntary, it's things that I do subconscious without even knowing it, is caffeine. When I drink a lot of caffeine, that's why I've started to get myself on a system that I've broken today and yesterday, that I will not have caffeine past 5 o'clock, because it will just make me twitch, and when I go to sleep, I can't sit still because I'm twitching, because I want to twitch, I need to twitch, and so I won't get any sleep. So anyway, man, all I'm doing is complaining. That's stupid. Honestly, guys, that's partially why I hate talking about my Tourette's. It's because, like, it always makes it sound worse than it is. Really, guys, like, I mean, it's like any ailment. Like, if you have it for 2 weeks, you get used to it, And it's not like I'm a victim. I think everybody in this world plays victims, and I don't want to be like that. Like, it's just Tourette's, and it's just a very mild form of Tourette's. So many other people have it worse than I do. I've got such a great family. I've got such great friends. I've got a great God that loves me despite my sin, despite myself. And my Tourette's is so mild. So, maybe I will make a video, but I'm done talking about it for now, because I'm thinking about it, so I'm twitching a lot right now, and so that's just making it more difficult for me, and just being more stupid for me. But also, I just catch myself in the middle of talking, like, who cares? Like, who cares? Like, I'm not saying that, like, oh no, Colton of Coffee&Combat, I care. No, I don't expect a response. Like, it's boring to me, and I would hate to be a listener with such such talk. So anyway, so yeah, you made it through the video if you're here. Either that or you skipped towards the end of the video just because you could. So welcome and goodbye. Yeah, I'm pretty tired, so I'm just gonna let the scene finish out, and then I'm going to bed. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for putting up with me, for listening to my story about me getting touched by a stranger, and then a little bit about my Tourette's. It's really kind of you. Please, in these videos, all I do is talk. But really, guys, like I said and like Chase said, we're here to bond together, but then also to meet friends along the way. So, just hit us up. Hit us up on Gmail, coffeeandcombat@gmail.com. Send us an email, type a comment, post a video reply. Just do something and just talk to us, man. We love to hear from you, and we'll love to get in contact with you. Anyway, guys, thank you so much once again for watching, for putting up with us. Hope you had a good coffee break. And once again, now that I've talked about Tourette's, now that you learned that, I can only have about 2 cups of coffee a day. In fact, only really 1 cup of coffee a day. I'm going to be twitching like nobody's business. But you know what? That's okay. So, yeah. So, I hope you enjoyed your cup of coffee. And maybe you are allowed 3 cups of coffee, maybe 4, maybe a whole pot of coffee. I hope you had a good time. I hope you enjoyed the combat that you've seen. Hopefully me playing as Link was fancy enough for you and fun enough for you. And I hope that the discussion that we had with our coffee was fun for you. Anyway, guys, thanks for putting up with me. Y'all have a good day. Bye.